this guy, whether you're a joker stylist or not. He is incredible. So sit back, enjoy, and just if you've got any questions, put them down because I know he's going to give you good answers, and he's just so cool. So, hi, Ricardo.
Hello, mate.
Hey, how's it going, fellas? How are you?
Good to you.
Good.
We just did a little intro.
Yeah, I caught some of that. Sorry, I was like inhaling the rest of my sandwich right before, like right as you went on live, and I was like, oh, let me just hurry up and eat this.
No, cool. That's cool. So, if you just want to introduce yourself and to the European market, just tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. So, well, like you guys said already, my name's Ricardo Santiago. I am a guest artist, international guest artist with Joico, and also independent educator as well. And I'm based in Orlando, Florida. So it's always hot where I live. And
Not here.
Yeah, I know. I kind of wish I had your weather right now.
No, what?
Yeah. But I've been working with Joico now for about 6 years, and I've had the wonderful opportunity of being able to kind of go all over the place. I haven't quite made it to Europe yet. Hopefully, I'll get there at some point soon. But yeah, but I have had the opportunity to do a lot of work through Canada and Latin America, tons of stuff here in the U.S. I've been fortunate enough also to be part of the artistic design teams that we've had, creating the new looks and teaching them over the last probably 4 or 5 years that I've been with the team. So it's been a great opportunity, and yeah, just all around, just work. I work behind the chair whenever I'm not traveling. I have my own studio, so my wife and I work together there. And outside of that, it's I'm either on the road or in the studio. Well, except for now, but every other time that's usually the routine.
Yeah. So what news have you got on the lockdown?
Well, we had ours lifted here in the state of Florida on Monday. So
okay.
It was a bit unexpected. We were actually told initially that it wouldn't be until this Monday, which I think was the 18th.
Yeah.
And then the governor did he retweeted a tweet from a local barber saying, "Hey, guess what, Florida, we're open now." So,
oh really?
Yeah, out of nowhere, we were open. We unfortunately we were ill prepared for it, so we're not. We personally haven't opened yet. We're gonna wait until we can get everything kind of done the right way, and then we're planning to open next week on Tuesday.
Cool. Wow, yeah. What a tweet.
I know, right? He caught us all off guard with that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we were worried about in the UK was Boris just going to be rogue and just be like, right, Monday, you can all have your haircut. And that's what we were worried about. We were thinking PPE, appointments, colour orders, everything like that. But thankfully, he's given us it in phases, so we don't open potentially until the 4th of July.
Oh wow! You guys still have a ways.
Yeah.
So in the States, Ricardo, does it mean that the governor of each state has to make a decision when you open, or is it like central government decides?
So the central government rolled out. So like the federal team, the president and his team, they rolled out a federal guideline that each individual state should follow and adhere to. But they haven't created any kind of mandatory anything. So really, it is up to each state individually to make up their minds as to how to do this. So we have states like Georgia, which are, for me, it's only a 4 hour drive, and I'm in Georgia. And they opened a week from last Monday. So they will be 2 weeks before we open. But their guidelines are very different from our guidelines. They have to wear full PPE with eye protection, face mask, not just for the hairdresser, but also for the clients as well. The hairdresser has to have PPE covering over as well, gloves at all times. But here it's much more lax in Florida. They barely, I mean, the only thing they said is the stylist has to wear a mask and gloves and no double booking. Other than that, or actually, no, they didn't say no double booking. They just said only by appointment. So no walk-ins to avoid crowding and lobbies and things like that. But that's it. It's very basic.
Yeah, because that's something that we haven't been really given any guidelines as such. We sort of know obvious PPE that we've got to wear, but the whole double booking or appointment only, do we extend appointments? Do we not have anybody in between a cut and colour? All that sort of thing. We're just up in the air at the minute, and clients keep asking us, can I book in? Can I book in? We don't know who we can book in or how we can book in as of yet. So it's just with time.
Yeah. And you know, they've even said there's some states that are allowing blow drying. Some do not allow blow drying.
Yeah,
there's no universal guideline, unfortunately, right now for the industry. So there are a lot of hairdressers who are kind of looking to find a way to create maybe like a collective where we can create our own guidelines that follow something that more in line with the CDC and the medical divisions that can hopefully get us somewhere a little safer than what some of the states are doing right now. Because some of them are just like, well, hey, go ahead and open, have fun, right? And that's probably not too safe.
Yeah, I know. You would sorry, Ian, go on, Ted, go ahead.
So, Ricardo, the lockdown thing has kind of caused a lot of disruption everywhere, globally anyway. So how did that look for your team? Because have you got a big team in your salon? I know it's you and your wife, but are there like other guys with you as well? How many of you are there?
No, it's just the two of us. So we have we're part of we rent a studio suite within a collective of studio suites. So there's probably about 30, I think about 30 independent suites within the building that we're in. And each one is closed off. So every time, you know, when you come in, we have a common greeting area where we would go and get our clients. But then after that, you go into your little room and that's it. It's just you and your client.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really good.
Yeah. So for us, it's actually a great thing because we are able to make it very, very personalized to the client, and we can make it, we think, you know, take it an extra level of safety. Whereas, you know, in a larger salon, like some of the ones that they have here, it's hard to control what maybe the others are doing. But in our case, as soon as they come into our room, we know it's clean, we know it's safe, we know it's sanitary, and all those good things.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, this is something we always talk about, is the whole booth rental or salon owners or studios and that in America, because it's dripping through into the UK and into Europe market, whereas self-employed and rent a chair as such is coming into Europe. But it's always interesting to hear other options that go on. Like me and Ian, we own a salon, and we employ our stylists, and it's always good to hear what's going on around the world, really. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's really cool. I personally, my dream was always to have like a large salon, you know, and employ a staff and train them up, have an academy that you have to go through in the salon and all that good stuff. But you know, I don't know if it's a lot different there. I always had the impression that a lot of stylists in Europe were a bit more disciplined than they are here in the US. So it's a tough crowd to try to manage over here. And I feel like I might just stick to doing my own thing for a little while and avoid the headache of having employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's different challenges when you have a large team, with the training aspect, getting them all to see the vision that you have. That's always a real challenge, I think. But generally, I think because it's an old market, we've been doing it this way for such a long time, most people are used to it. But now, with a lot of rent-to-chairs are coming into the European market and into the UK especially, the dynamics are changing, you know, and I think you can't resist that change. You have to kind of adapt to it, I think, more than anything, because I think any resistance is you're just going to get left behind. So you have to be aware of it. You have to kind of know how to manage it and and see different opportunities within that system, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree. I do know several salon owners here locally that are good friends of mine, and they have beautiful salons and they take very good care of their stylists. And I think when it's done right, then the employee knows they appreciate that, and they will then they work with you versus working for you. And I think that's an important thing, is to have that kind of camaraderie that comes with that. So if it's done correctly, which, if we decided to ever go down that route, I know that we would be very, very strategic in how we would approach it, and build the team up the right way, that I think that would work really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, you're probably going to say this as well. Me and him had a Zoom session yesterday, I think it was, and we were developing sort of a course as such about building a mantra within your team. And we came across and explored some great tips and advice, and something we're going to put out there on building a team and building a mantra, building a brand, and getting that sort of camaraderie that you want.
I'm laughing because I thought this was a big secret.
Well, it's something that we're going to put out there, isn't it? It's something that we've been working on, obviously, these lives every week, and we've just put our heads together from two different generations. Like, yeah.
The old and the young. Yeah, the old and the young.
I didn't want to say it.
Guess who's the young?
And it's amazing how, like, I love looking at the sort of the techniques from old. Do you know what I mean? Like the real sassoon, not the techniques from old, but the sassoon, all that sort of thing, and the precision of it, just the way that things should be done, I suppose. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like Ian feels like there's daggers getting thrown at him every time you say something.
Yeah, I know.
Talk about backhanded compliments.
No. It's the way that things have been watered down so much recently. It's become the consultation has become something which doesn't really exist anymore, and the fundamentals of sectioning and blow drying, wrap drying, they've all been very diluted, and that's what I mean by that. I don't mean anything by it. I just mean that I love the way that's what attracted me to the industry, how it was all done. And then I see it as it is now, and I think we need to combine the two to make it special again.
And that's a perfect segue, Paul, because my next question to Ricardo is, what attracted him into the industry, first of all? What was the thing that got you into hairdressing? Because, you've made such a fantastic career of it. So what attracted you initially?
I mean, honestly, it's a lot of what Paul just said. I was fortunate when I came in to I never had the intention of becoming a hairdresser. I was going to be a barber, because I always did barbering just kind of for fun and as a side job throughout high school, college, my time in the military, even my professional career before getting into hairdressing. I was just kind of did it on the side for friends and family, things that it was fun for me. And then there came a point when I received a medical discharge from the military, and my brother, who's also a barber, he was like, "Hey man, I want to make this official. How do I go about doing it? Let's maybe go to hair school together or something." And I said, "Okay, let's do it." So we went to hair school, and it was in hair school actually that one of my teachers, actually I had two of them in particular that fought with me almost daily to do women's hair until I finally caved, because I was like, look, it's just, that's not my thing. I'm a barber, like, leave me alone.
I love that.
Yeah. But she took me to a salon, and the salon that I went to, it was this beautiful high-end salon right in the middle of downtown Sarasota, Florida, which is a very upscale area that people live in. And it was crazy to go in there, and it was almost like walking into a whole different world. It was just beautifully done, very high end, very clean, very upscale, not like any kind of barbershop I had ever been into, you know. And then talking with the stylist and with the owner, they seeing how they worked, and they had a team of probably 15 stylists, which more than half of them were educators for different companies, which was great because when I did decide to go and start working there, then I got all of that education from all of them.
Yeah, I love that.
And it was they were so technical, some of them, and others had like a newer approach. So I got to see this creative side with the fundamentals and the technical side, and really that's kind of what molded me to kind of combine those things together. So I had a deep appreciation for the, like what you're saying, that classic side and the fundamentals, the things that we would see in like a Sassoon or anything like that, and then also kind of like pushing the envelope on creativity with some of the other people that were there, which, you know, I hate to say it was the younger stylists that were pushing the envelope, and the older stylists that were there that were so technically sound.
Yeah.
It was a great way to just kind of bring it all together. That's what it initially drew me in. And then that same teacher that took me to that salon was also an educator for a different company, and she brought me on with them as well. So I was able to immediately transition into working with a company, understanding the corporate side of thing, and then building up my experience as an educator as well. So it was almost right out of school. I just kind of got thrown right into it.
Are we allowed to ask who the company was originally that you worked with?
Yeah, it was Rusk. It was Rusk, and it was back in back in the OG days.
Irvin and Rita Rusk.
Yep, right before they sold to Conair. That it was
right.
Great, you know, great company, great fundamentals, and I learned a lot from them, you know, and it helped to kind of mold to continue to develop my skill set to, I mean, I don't use a texture shear anymore, which they pretty much live off of those.
Kettering pieces, right?
Yeah, no, I don't do that anymore, but I do have an appreciation for it. I think that, you know, they do really well.
Because I think they originated in the UK.
Mm-hmm. They did.
He froze.
He froze up.
Yeah. Sorry, I think Rita and Irvin, they actually originated from Scotland in the UK. I think that's where they're originally from. Yeah,
that's I remember I met Irvin once, and I was kind of blown away by it. So it was really cool to kind of see the way that they had just kind of grown this company up from nothing, you know. Cool.
So one of the things that when I first noticed you was when you were at Joy Nation. I'd sort of seen bits you did before then, but you've like since Joy Nation like blown up. Would you say, or would you say it's like, obviously it's a craft and you've been coming through, but on social media it just exploded recently?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. There was a time before, I would say a few years ago, when everything was just booming on Instagram, and the opportunity to grow, you know, just by a simple repost of a company that had a large following, could just expand your reach so easely. And now the way that it's set up, it's really very difficult to create any kind of growth. And I think just in the last few months, honestly, being able to do more of these lives, and whereas before I feel like we were so busy working behind the chair, we didn't focus so much on building the social media side as much as we were always engaged. My wife is a huge part of helping me with that. The focus was still always like when we're in the salon, it's always with the client. You know, we always want to cater to that particular individual and make them feel like they're the most important and not distract from that. So we kind of lost the ability to do that. And then it was kind of like what you're saying. It just, we did these lives, and it was crazy. The one that we did not too long ago, where I did the angle method and Joico reposted it, is out of nowhere it crossed over. It was like the first video that they had that went over 100,000 views.
Wow.
And over 200,000 views, and it stopped at about 230,000.
Amazing.
And then on our page, it's at almost 400,000 views. So that's been like a crazy. And now the golden hour glow technique that we did also.
Yeah.
That one's creeping up on 600,000 views right now. So it's crazy to see the growth that's come with that. It's definitely a big blessing for us, but at the same time, we're trying to figure out what the heck it was that that created that attraction that people were so drawn to want to see it, so that we can continue to replicate that and do our best to deliver that.
I can tell you one of the things is, and I was saying this to Ian before we came on, was the way that you style out the mannequins, the way you dress them. Like, that is, I was showing my girlfriend the other day. I was like, look at this, it looks like a person. And I just love it. I love the way that you style them out so they look real. I love that. And I think that is one of the things which intrigues you, because it's like, is that a person? Oh, it can't be a person because we're in lockdown. But they look so cool.
I think the other thing I wanted to find out, Ricardo, is that you just said about your wife. What is the role that your wife plays for you then? Is she like really behind the scenes? Is she giving you all the advice? What role does she play with you in work?
Good Lord. That's how long do we have on this live for me to explain? She literally does just about everything except for actually cutting and coloring the hair. She manages the business side of it all. She helps me to get the videos. She has the creative eye when we are filming and doing things to say, hey, let's change the positioning here. The lighting's better over here. So she's a director. She's the manager. She's literally does all the things for me. And then, I mean, Paul, you're saying the thing about the mannequins. That was her idea. It's not my idea.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be smart enough to dress a mannequin to make it look like a human. I would be like, hey, it's fine. But I mean, years ago when we first started our Instagram, that's what we did. We didn't have creative color clients that we could take pictures of.
Yeah.
We had to find a way to facilitate that. So we just bought really expensive mannequins that I didn't realize I could have bought less expensive mannequins at the time. But we spent all this money on these mannequins, and I spent all this time, doing these creative colors and stuff on them. And she's like, all right, hold on, give me a second. And she would take them and she would put a jacket on them. She'd put a scarf on them. She would put a hanger underneath to hold things in place. She would flip it and then it'd stage it, and it looked like a person every single time. People were like, hey, what's your formula? And I'm like, well, do you have perfect level 10 hair to work on? Because that's not a real person. So
well, I've took so much inspiration from it. I've just ordered another mannequin tripod because my one is just taped at the minute. It's terrible. But it comes tomorrow. I'm going to head into the salon this weekend. And I was thinking, how do you create the shoulders? I know you can get some with shoulders, but I'm going to take 2 coat hangers and I'm going to try it. I love it.
It works. We have the competition series ones from Pivot Point. Those have the shoulders, but those are the really expensive ones.
Yeah.
And then you could even, if you want, you can actually buy just a shoulder piece with a neck attachment, and then you can take different heads and put it on there. So that's what we use now. The skin tone doesn't match, so you have to get creative with covering it and doing something on the neck. But it's a perfect shoulder rest to place the mannequin on, and then you can dress it like an actual person.
Cool. Well, I'm going to get one of them.
Yeah. So what was your wife's background then? What does she come from? Is she a creative naturally, or has she ever worked in the hair industry before, or does she come from a completely different industry altogether?
She's definitely the creative type, but she grew up in the industry. Her mother was a hairdresser her whole life. Although she never saw any kind of pursuit in that. Oh, look at this! She brought me this is the shoulder piece.
Cool.
Yeah, so you can put the mannequin right on there and then just dress it up and take pictures.
So where's that from?
That's a great question. Where is this from? China, I can tell you that on the bottom.
China. I'll have a look on Wish.
Maybe check on Amazon or something. I'm not sure. It might. Huh? You want me to hold it up to me? She wants to take a picture of it on my neck like this. Jesus. See, she creates the opportunities.
Yeah, I love it.
She came from a hospitality and hotel background, so that's great for us. Also behind the chair and in the salon, because she knows how to cater to that client, and other ways that I typically don't think of sometimes. And in the communication with them. So she was actually a director of sales and marketing at her hotel before. She was there for the last property she was at for about 5-6 years. And she left when she left them to come with me full time, is when our growth really started to boom at that point, because we were both able to focus everything into the business.
Cool.
And which hotel group was she with? Was she with like a big brand, or was she with like a local brand?
She was with Carlson. So Carlson owns like all the Radisson Blues, SAS, Country. Yeah, so I guess they're bigger over there than they are over here. But they do have quite a reach over here. Over here they do like Country Inns and Suites and stuff like that too.
I think he's froze.
Did I freeze?
Is that, sorry, the reason I was asking was that whenever you stay in a Marriott hotel, or used to be, in the side cabinet at the bed, they've got 2 books, and one is the Gideon Bible, and the other one is the Marriott story, The Spirit to Serve. And I always used to take The Spirit to Serve because it's got some fantastic customer service stuff in there. It's really worth it. I used to give it to my team to read because it's such a great customer service thing and element to it. We should try and find one. I think I've got one here somewhere, but it's incredible. The Spirit to Serve by Marriott. Their whole philosophy is amazing.
Oh, I'll have to see if I can find one. We have some friends with Marriott, so I bet you I can score one from somebody.
Yeah.
But that would be great.
Good, I promise. It's just an amazing read. It's a really quick read, but the philosophy behind the customer service is phenomenal, just phenomenal.
I agree. Marriott, that's usually my choice brand when I travel, so I would agree for sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, mine too. So I'm taking that on Instagram, your wife is wife of a stylist. Is that correct?
That would be her commenting everywhere there.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
She's killing it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's best at.
It's great.
Love that. So one of the things we were also talking about was when you were at Joy Nation and you stepped in for Richard.
Yes, it's a big one.
It is a big one. Like, how did you feel when like the call came and it was like, right, Richard unfortunately can't be here, so we want you to like get out there and just kill it?
Well, I mean, for lack of a better term, I pretty much like shit my pants in the moment. Yeah. So, it was pretty crazy. We had literally just landed. We had just landed in LA, and this was, a day or two before the event. To myself with the training team, we had to do the models and all that stuff.
Yeah. And
when I landed, I immediately got a phone call from Brandon, who, you guys know Brandon, and he said, "Hey, buddy." Yeah, he said, hey, buddy, I need a favor from you. And I said, oh, yeah, sure. What's up? I mean, we had just landed. Whatever I can do, just let me know when I get to the hotel. And he said, so Richard unfortunately had, a family tragedy and is not able to be here with us. So we're going to need you to step up and lead his haircuts. Are you comfortable with them? And I was like, you're kidding me, right? So, I mean, it was always a dream. It's honestly, from day one, my since I came on with Joico, my dream has always been to achieve that level of director, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've always looked up to them, even back when it was Sue and Damien and everyone we've had in between. you know, Jeremy, Gianni, Vivian, all these icons that I was able to learn so much from in that time. So I was like, yeah, that was honestly everything that kept going through my mind is like, I'm not there yet. Like, you can't have me just step into that. But the good thing is, you know, I had access to the haircuts that we were doing beforehand. I'm thankful that over the last couple of years, you know, particularly since we had Gianni on and the European team was over doing the trainings with us, I got to really develop a skill set with technical cutting. So I felt comfortable with doing the haircuts and explaining them in a technical fashion that I thought would work well moving forward into the training. And I also had a practice run in Canada, thank God, before that. So it worked out in my favor to where I felt comfortable enough to be able to step in. And I remember just getting to the hotel and I almost immediately shut myself in the room and just started watching the videos over and over and over, just making sure that I had the terminology, I had the way that he was explaining it. I wanted to use all his points. And then just mix it in with a little bit of mine as well, so that you had kind of a combination of both of our personalities in the teaching of it.
Cool. I mean, the reason we wanted to bring it up was because, well, we were all over social media watching it, but also, like, your peers, you had Olivia, Larissa, Sherry, Zoe, they, like, in their feed, they were saying, like, how incredible you just stepped up and just did it. So that's why we wanted to show everybody here that, like, things like that do happen, that you are expected to step up to a level that you don't often feel comfortable doing. But like you say, if you want to get that next step, fear is what fuels us. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I was shaking every time I did a haircut. I was surprised I didn't cut myself pretty bad.
Yeah.
It worked out. Especially when the GM, Sarah Jones, came and sat right in the middle of one of my classes in my demos. She literally walked right in front of everyone and sat right in the front row center. And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to do this haircut on my daughter. Let me see how you do this." And I was like, "You're kidding me right now. Just get out of here."
Love that. What were you going to say, Ian?
Yeah, I'm just saying that I was just looking through your Instagram earlier, and it just said that you do a great, from June 2019, you do a great piece on stage fright. And I just read it, and I was going to bring it up anyway, but you just said, you know, I shit my pants. I just think that is like, yeah, I think that when I started working as a platform artist, probably 20 years ago or longer, one of the best bits of advice I had was that when you lose that nervousness, you'll probably become too comfortable. You're probably too, you think too much of yourself, really. And thankfully, I don't think I've ever got to that position. I still think I get nervous before I go on. I still think I get a bit anxious. And I think that keeps you honest, because you know that stuff can go wrong and it's out of your control. And you know that you just hope you're equipped to deal with it. But I love that you do a 3 or 4 point plan on how you should feel and what you're doing. And I aligned with you on that really well. It's worth having a look at from June 2019. It's really fantastic post.
Cool.
So it's good you brought that in.
I'll have to check that out. I think it's great too, because that's one of the questions I get most from young stylists, especially like advisors that come on the team, and they said, "How do you go on stage and you look so comfortable?" I say, "I'm not. The day that I don't have that nervous twitch and those butterflies right before I go on a stage, granted, I'm more comfortable on a stage in front of thousands than I am in front of a room of 25 of my Joico peers, because I know the level that they are at. But I said that, the day that you lose that, I know personally that I feel like if I ever lost that's probably the day that I will no longer educate, because that's just the thing that drives me. I feel like that's the thing that kind of keeps me kind of grounded in place without ever thinking that I'm better than I am. So I think it's great too that you were saying that, Ian.
Yeah, I just think one of you opened by saying that you should never get to a place where you think you know it all. You should always be ready to receive as much as you're ready to give. And I think that if I do a small session, especially in like a room of 20, I always say I'm expecting to learn as much from you guys today as you will from me, because I always see something that I will want to steal to use for myself at some point, you know. And I think that you've always got to go into a session with that attitude, rather than I know it all. And that's why we've linked up with so many great artists so far. And
it's froze.
Yep.
Sorry. I've been writing notes furiously whatever people say, because I still want to be better. I still want to learn something new. And I think that's where, I'm 42 years in the industry and I still want something new. And I think, but working with Paul, working with the guys at Joyco Europe, it makes you lift your game, and it makes you realise there's so much more to do still, you know. So I love that today.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel very, like you were saying at the beginning, like I still feel very out of my depth when it comes to everything. Like you have to get up there and educate in front of people, and the amount of prep that goes on behind the scenes, and that not so much fear, but the butterflies and all that's going on. It does it fuels it. And when we all get together as a team and we learn so much, and one of the things I like to talk about as well is when I work with these guys, and hopefully in the States as well we get to come over, but I like to tell people on a course if I have learned something from somebody, because it just shows that level of respect is there, that we're only human at the end of the day, and if somebody brings up a different way to, like a different technique or something that I can learn, it's the magic of it all for me, really.
Absolutely. It's funny because kind of taking from what you both are saying is I've been trying to catch as many of the Joyco Europe lives as I can, and every time I don't do it unless I'm able to sit and really focus, and I have a notepad and I'm drawing out sketches of everything that you're doing with your sectioning, your placements, the angles that you're cutting at, and I'm writing out the notes and everything, because it's still like, even if there are things that and I think that young stylists sometimes forget this, is they see something, they're like, oh, I know how to do that, right? There's still always going to be something within a demonstration or an explanation that you can pull away from and say, oh, like, and have that moment. Like when you're doing the contoured color, I was like, yeah, this one looks similar. Like I had done something similar to that, and I always try to stay within like a 3-color palette within a small range, similar to what you're doing. But when you introduced it by saying, here's a makeup palette, and notice how we have these 3 colors. You have the highlighter, the contour, and I was like, good Lord have mercy. I stole that right away, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I had the same reaction, Ricardo. When I saw that for the first time, we did it in Holland, and Paul pulled it out.
There he goes again.
Yeah, his signal's terrible.
That's amazing. I said exactly the same thing. So am I freezing?
Yeah, you froze then.
I think the kids are stealing my internet. I just say that when I saw the palette for the first time, it really blew me away, and I was like, I haven't stopped talking about that with my team, saying, you've got to see this, it's incredible,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's theatre, isn't it? It's all about, we want to bring across something that's a little bit different and makes you have that aha moment. It's like, oh my God, that's so relatable to maybe people who may be a little bit more visual than others. It's the reason for the makeup is obviously it's that aha moment that for me, when I really looked into it, I was like, well, that will, with Ian, so he's just a cutter for Europe. Not just a cutter, he's an incredible hairdresser.
That's all it is.
Just a cutter. But like Ian just said, that he had that moment, wasn't it, Ian, in Holland, where it really resonated and stuck with him.
Yeah, like I can repeat things back good, big,
and again,
so much that I can say, oh my God, and I don't really have this. I do understand it. I just choose not to do it.
Yeah.
It was just too time consuming for me in the salon. So I think that I understand it, but the way it was presented was so effective and easy, and I know it could translate really well, and that's why it's stuck with me. I think it's visual. It's a visual thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I do think it's funny. At least when Ian freezes, he looks like he's deep in thought. Like he's having a really intense moment when it freezes. It's like you timed it though.
Yeah, and there's some great expressions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure if the kids are into that. The other thing is that I just want to lighten the mood a bit then. Going back to one of your feeds, you were on Instagram, you did a post about being in the Magic Kingdom in Disney, and you said about taking day off, waking up late in the morning, enjoyed it, and you intended to do more of this. Take the lockdown out of it, is this still something that you intend to do more with together with you and your wife?
Oh yeah, we absolutely would. I personally, I love Disney. I mean, we have annual passes. I could go to Disney every single day of the week, but my wife not so much. her hotel was actually a Disney like a Disney partner hotel. So
right.
Whereas I see like the like the childish view of it, you know, that I grew up with of Disney. It's a magical place and all these things, and I love the characters and just walking around. I don't even have to go on a ride. I just love to walk around and look at everything. She sees little nightmare children screaming and yelling and and you know, it's unfortunately when you work in that industry and you're in like that hotel and stuff, that's the unfortunate side of it that people don't understand. Like there's an ugly side to Disney, and every client that I have that works at Disney says the exact same thing. Like
really?
Yeah, they all come in and they're all scorned. It's ruined their lives and their opportunity to just be happy individuals.
They don't come in singing and dancing and no.
It's unfortunate. Just the fools like me who think it's the happiest place on earth, and then the ones who work there are like it's the most miserable place on earth.
Oh, the magic.
Yeah. So I think we'll probably I think our idea of something like that might shift a little bit, not to mention, you know, moving forward, I don't know what it looks like with the new guidelines that they're going to have in place. You know, we may not feel safe enough to go there for a while, but we like to do things differently now, especially now that we have our dog. We pretty much will focus our day around doing things with him. Huh?
With the skateboard?
Yeah, he's got a skateboard. It just came in yesterday.
Cool.
We're gonna work on teaching him how to ride it. So, you know, if we ever come over, then you and him can go for a ride, Paul. Because you've got yours too.
I got it, a little penny board. This time I've been walking, I've been running. I just wanted something a little bit fun, so I bought it and I fell off it yesterday.
No way.
Yeah, I cut my hand open.
I saw the picture.
It's only a little cut, but yeah, it was a big fall. It was a somersault. Jess was walking behind me, and she was just like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's just good being out in the open and just having a bit of fun. So
I like that. That's good.
Yeah. I remember when they first came out in the 70s. I had one then. So I'm not even going to talk about that.
The original.
The first ones. The wheels weren't quite rounded yet. You know, you had to kind of saw them down a little bit.
That's the one. Yeah. God. So what I was looking for, Ricardo, from you, because of your social media has been like going crazy at the moment, and you've really got great, all eyes are on you. And everybody, when we do a live, asks about the social media part of it. Is you do a lot of tutorials, you do a lot of...
There you go.
You froze.
Tips would you give to... Am I frozen again? Oh man, come on. I think Lewis has just commented and said he thinks I'm on dial-up. On dial-up mode there.
Someone keeps on picking up the phone.
Yeah. Started to ring like this. just so what's your success tips? What are your kind of for social media? I know that you do a lot of tutorials, but what other tips would you give for social media, people aspiring to get to the level you're at?
Well, I think nowadays you have to just you have to have a real expectation, and what's happened is it's not the Instagram of old, like we talked about, where getting reposted by a brand could magically grow your page in no time. It's really hard to get the exposure, and even with the exposure, that doesn't necessarily equate to the growth that we used to get before. So thankfully, we're thankful right now that we are in an uphill trend. I do think that videos are always more appealing, and also when you are doing the videos, just like being yourself and not trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation with my wife and other people where they're like, "Oh, hey, why don't you do a video like this?" And I'm like, "That's not me. Like, I can't do that. I'm not gonna fake and be something that I'm not."
Kim Kardashian.
Exactly. Like I have to just do what works for me. And like I'm never gonna be this like over the top presenter, but I am gonna be somebody who's gonna focus really, really hard on fundamentals and technical ability and things like that when I do education, versus try to be like funny and flashy and all those things.
Yeah.
I do that on stage. I'll be stupid on a stage, but when I'm trying to be intentional about something, I do that. So kind of just be yourself, let your audience get to know you, I think is really important. I think Instagram also focuses on that as well. Doing the videos, and also when you do your videos, try to make it to where it's something that you can post on IGTV, because Instagram is doing a big push to continue to promote their IGTV to compete with things like YouTube and stuff like that. So the more that they can drive growth to that element of their brand, the more they're going to possibly cross promote you as well and put you on those discoverable pages. So when you go into that search, your video could show up there and then be exposed to millions of people versus just the small channel or group following that you personally have. So like, for example, our video has now been seen by hundreds of thousands of people, but we only have a following of 60,000+. So it's a whole different kind of thing to where you just want to get yourself out there. And like I said, I think videos right now is the best way to do that. And then I was always told, like, a good note is, if you don't already do it, make sure that you're putting at least a few hashtags on things. Don't go crazy, like don't max it out, because then they tend to think that maybe you're not a human if you put too many. So there's a sweet spot. I think that's between like 10 and 15 hashtags to use. Not the full. I think they allow you almost 30. Don't do that. And then also make sure that you put a location on everything that you're doing, because that increases your chance of exposure just by geotagging something. So that's another thing that you can do also. Cool.
Love that advice.
I was just had a really good thought. I think that in the near future, we're going to have your wife on as well, because her advice has been, I feel like she's giving me a lecture watching her posts come in. Because one of the great things she said so far is to be authentic, which Paul and I have talked about at length with all the guest artists, I suppose. That's the best advice ever. But she's given us, I'm definitely going to have to get your wife's going to have to come on and talk to us about social media, about her role and stuff, because she's just killing it on the comments.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's what she does. So you're getting twice the information, because she's giving it and then I'm giving it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, she had and still at this time she manages not just mine but other social media accounts for companies, individuals, stuff like that. There was even a period of time where she was running Joico's Instagram for a period of almost, I think it was like 6 to 8 months, that she was helping them to continue to gain their, to continue to grow and create engagement and all that stuff as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well,
We definitely got to get her on.
Yeah.
Simple. She's got to definitely on here. Because I
Just
think
say when. We'll force her.
Perspective, number one, of social media, and also a perspective of the industry from outside of the industry, not being a stylist, not being a hairdresser, but actually living with one 24/7 and understanding what they look at, but their perspective will be different. So I think maybe our next person to come on board with this.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, it could be dangerous. I'm just letting you know.
Cool.
Could be dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we get asked a lot about the social media side, and being hairdressers, we're expected to be always creative and putting up pictures and really good captions, really good thumbnails, really good hashtags. But it's a full-time job, as your wife does. Like, it is a full-time job, and it is so difficult when you're still working behind the chair, you're still educating, you're still trying to do videos and everything. It's great to have that different perspective on it, like Ian's saying, and how it's done, just to give a little bit of hope.
There's a question in here saying, how do you overcome camera shyness? Every time I look at the camera and say something, I burst into laugh. I can't take myself seriously, and I'm laughing. How do you overcome that?
Practice. Just keep practicing in front of the camera. Just prop it up on a tripod and keep recording yourself talking and practicing, and eventually you get more comfortable with the camera. The camera, like I said, I would rather be on a stage in front of thousands of people than talk to a camera. I don't know why. The camera just scares the crap out of me. So I would rather do one versus the other.
It just doesn't talk back, and I think that's the thing. I did a team meeting on Zoom the other week, and it was all very loud, and I put everyone on mute for a minute, and I had to unmute everybody because there just wasn't that connection. Yeah. And I think you're trying to create such a connection on camera for a video, and you're getting no response, no feeling, and I think that's one of the hardest things to overcome. It's having to give all of everything you've got to a lens.
Absolutely, especially if you tell a joke, you don't know if it actually did well or if it just fell flat. There's no way of knowing.
No.
That's true. That's definitely true. So there's a couple of there's one thing I want to speak about just briefly towards the end. I know that you are like a dedicated man of faith, and does that play a part in your work life at all, or do you have much? Does it come into your work life at all?
I mean, for us, absolutely. Like every time I do anything, I literally pray before I do anything. So if it's a live, if it's a tutorial, if it's going on a stage, if it's going into a prep, everything that I do, I kind of lead it in with a prayer. I always make sure, like, when somebody does, say, oh, you did so great, or this or that, I don't take any of that credit myself. So I always make sure that I give God that credit first, because, that's where I get that skill set from. And I just feel like, if you don't have some foundation, some kind of core belief, then it's really hard to kind of find that place to ground yourself. So for me, that's where I ground myself. So I bring it into every part of what I do, whether it is business or personal. It's always been kind of a guideline. And I feel like if you follow that guideline, if you follow that roadmap that was given to us, in that, that just kind of sets you up for success. Because if nothing else, you learn to be a better person just by following that guideline.
Amazing. Yeah, but you are super humble.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the things we said in the intro prior to coming on was just like, you're such a real character.
Yeah.
Like everything about you is authentic, and I think your wife is screaming in the comments, be authentic, and I think that nobody kind of illustrates that more than you do, I think, in this industry.
Definitely.
And especially as a platform artist, you just bring it, do it, and you're thankful and grateful, but super. And I don't mean it in a pack. You're very, very humble and easy to talk to. This is an hour, and it's gone like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's flown by, but it's been great, and it's like this is one of the positives we get from the lockdown. It is a terrible thing that's happening. We say it all the time, but connecting with people who we wouldn't normally have the time to. we'd probably maybe come across if you came here or we came over to you and we'd work together, but still, I don't think we'd have an hour's conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to my mom as much as I've talked to you guys right now. So this is great.
Yeah. But yeah, it's something that we just wanted to do and just connect with as many as possible. We're still connecting with our team as well. So we've got David Murray in on Monday. We've got Denise on Friday. We've got Chad and then Olivia the following week. So we're just trying to connect with as many people as possible, just for this really, just to put a bit of a vibe out there.
I love it. I think it's great.
Comments. Katrina Kelly, who's like one of the European colour team members. She's great. She's just said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but our leader is addressing our nation." And I assume she means David Murray. Very wrong though.
I was like, is that a UK thing or is that a Joico Europe thing?
Yeah, I think she's got she's in Ireland, so the Irish like Prime Minister has given a speech. When she says our leader is addressing the nation, actually David Murray's addressing the nation.
Oh, there he is.
It's
there.
funny because he's right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
On cue.
Yeah.
Typical.
Too smooth.
Of course. Yeah. You probably would as well. You wouldn't have stage fright.
But yeah, I mean, I think we've got literally minutes. But what's next for you?
Well, we have on Monday. We have the big Joico the Live Nation tour. So we initially this year we had this thing in the U.S. where we weren't really doing any of the large hair shows. We were going to be creating our own, and we were calling it the Joico's Live Nation tour. And I was fortunate to be one of the ones that was going to be doing pretty much all of them. And
cool.
Because of this, that all got canceled. So most of them I think were pushed to next year. We'll see kind of what that looks like. So instead, we're doing a digital version on Monday, and it's going to be
20 seconds. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So it's going to be most of the day on Monday. So you'll see 6 of us that are on there, the US's top team, and we'll be sharing all kinds of information.
Amazing.
On behindthechair.com. Yeah.
Cool. We'll share it. So if you share it, we'll share it.
We'll do that. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Hey, thanks.